Why do you keep pressing all those pen colors? Did you buy more pens for the Copics?
No, it's just fun.
But that's how we keep track of our collection of what we have.
Oh. Hi, and welcome to Crafts by Two. I'm George.
And I'm Ken.
And today we're going to show you how to use two different applications to keep track of all your Copic markers.
Well, you have two choices. You don't have to use two applications. You
Right.
can choose just one.
Right. The first app is from the Two Corporation, the people who make Copics. It's mainly focused on their Japanese market, but that doesn't mean that we can't use it. It's pretty cool, but it's only for iOS devices. The next application that we have for you is a web app, so you can use it on Droid, iPhone, iPad, tablets, Windows Phone, and your computer. You can use it on anything because it's just a web page, but it does pretty much the same thing. Not as pretty though.
Well, it lets you track your collection, but the app for the iPhone does a lot more.
And it's prettier.
Yeah. You can find the Copic Collection app in the iOS App Store. You can search just on Copic. Here it changed it to Copic Collection because that's what I chose from the menu. But it's free and you can install it with just a tap. After the application is installed, you launch it just like any other app on the phone, with just a tap. One of the first things you'll want to do is use the pen button to the upper right. This allows you to choose what kind of pens you want to show in your collection. We've chosen to just focus on the sketch markers, but you can choose Copics, Chow, Wide, or your ink refills. I'll just turn a few of them on. Or actually just do show all, and say done. This view, you can switch to different filters at the top. So there's all, which will show you all the markers, stock, which will show you just the markers in your collection, and the star, which is kind of a wish list or a shopping list. Then you have the different color families. When you tap on the color family, you'll see a representation of every color and every pen in that collection. So because of these examples, there's the sketch marker, the traditional Copic marker, the Chow markers, and it doesn't look like they have any of the wide ones in this collection. Let me see if I can find a wide one. There we go. There's the wide ones. So it's really cool that you see a visual representation of the pens and what they look like. So that way it's just kind of easier to figure out what you're working with. I'm going to switch back to just the sketch pens for our collection. Currently I'm in the all view. If I switch over to stock, you'll see the items that we've set as just being a part of our collection. And if I switch over to the star for the wish list, you can see two colors that I've flagged as wanting to purchase. It's really easy to switch items on and off. So I can just choose a color. And in the all view, the pens that you don't have are faded out. The pens you do have are bold and lit up. And then the pens on your wish list have the star. So for example, the Y0s I don't have, Y13 and 15 we do have, and then Y23 and 26 are on our wish list, and they have the star next to them. To switch an item to be in your collection, you just tap. So for example, if I tap on Y8, acid yellow, it highlights, and now it's a part of our stock. If I switch to stock at the top, Y8 is now included. If I don't want that in my stock, another tap removes it. And it's just as easy to add things to your wish list. You can do it with a double tap. So if I do the Y18, Now it's highlighted with a star as being something on my wish list, and just another double tap will remove it from the wish list. But if it was on the wish list and then I bought it, a single tap adds it to the collection, but it's not smart enough to know that it was removed from your wish list, so you can just double tap again to clear that star. This makes it really easy to keep track of your collection and your wish list for shopping. One other thing you can do is press and hold, and that will show a little menu where you can choose info. This is the same information that you can see in the Browse button at the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to go into that in a little more detail in a moment. The other button at the top is the Set button. This lets you browse the different sets available from Copic, and unfortunately it is in Japanese, so you have to rely on the set numbers, so 72C, 72D, and so on. But if you do buy a set, you can quickly add it to your stock by finding the set and tapping the stock button on the screen. The buy button does only show Japanese stores right now, so if you're not in Japan, the buy button isn't going to help you out. But the stock button is a quick way to add them to your collection. Before we hop into Browse, because this is focused on the TOO Corporation and Japan, like we said, the shop button doesn't really help you out because it only shows stores in Japan, not the rest of the world. And it's kind of the same thing for the config area. They do have a how to use, but unfortunately it's in Japanese. As you've seen so far, it is a pretty simple app to use. Now let's look at the Browse button. Browse shows you a lot of great information to help you make decisions on pens and colors. And don't forget, this information is also available when you're browsing your collection if you press and hold on a pen and select the info menu. It's real simple to browse through all of the colors available through Copic, just swiping across the bottom for the color swatches. One of the main features of this area is this color swatch in the center. You can toggle it between strokes, which is what it's on now, and you can see in the little stroke icon highlights, and with a tap you can switch it to just a full color to give you a better idea of what this color is. The strokes is nice because you can see how the color builds up with multiple strokes of the pen. So you can see the saturation's very light with a few strokes, and then it gets denser, and then you get a very even color if you do multiple strokes. If you swipe across on the color swatch, and here you can see what markers have this color, and it's very simple using the check mark or the star to add this to your stock or to your wish list. If you keep swiping, there is the origin story of the color, but unfortunately it's in Japanese, so it's kind of sad that you miss out on learning that little bit of information. I'm always kind of curious about things like the origin of a color or something like that. And then you also get the sets again, so you can see what sets have this color. A great feature of the Browse and the info it shows is the complementary colors. Using C colors at the top, you can tap that and it shows you little color swatches for colors that are complementary colors to the one you're currently looking at. So this makes it really easy to scroll through your colors and find colors that are really going to work with it visually. If this isn't something that's instinctual to you, this can be really helpful, and even if you're not using these markers, this is really handy just if you happen to have this kind of color of paper, that you can find suggestions of colors that will work with that paper. I just think this is a really fun feature, and it helps making decisions about colors for projects a lot easier. If you tap Done, you'll return to the main info view, and then the System button lets you filter the color swatches. Using the All button, you can see all of the colors, either as small swatches or using the toggle to the right, big swatches. But what's great here is you can filter your collection by what you have in your stock or what you have in your wish list. So if you're trying to think of colors for a project, it's great to be able to view your stock and then tap on a color and then see those complementary colors again. This makes it really easy to know what you have on hand and what's going to work with. Unfortunately, the complementary colors you can't filter by what you have in your stock, but it's not that hard when you have a great application like this to track what you do and don't have. Overall, this is a great program. There's only a few little things that could have made it better. English in some areas would have been great, and the ability to have it sync your account into the cloud. Right now, George and I both keep this on our phone, but we both have to update what colors are in our collection personally. There's no way for us to do it once and then have it sync up between our two phones. Overall, though, it's a great visual view that lets you see the colors and work with them, and that complementary colors feature is just so helpful. It's just a really nice way to track the pens in your collection. The Copic web application is available to anybody. It can be used on a phone, and it can be even used on your desktop in a regular web browser. The web address is www.hyliston.net/iPhone/Copic. And like I said, even though it says iPhone, it can be used anywhere. We're just showing it on the iPhone right now. When you load the application, you'll be able to choose the different pen types. So the Sketch, Chow, Copic, Wide, or your refills, and track them. When you select a pen type, you're brought into the different color families. You're brought into blue initially, but across the bottom there's your different choices, so you can switch between yellow and red and so on with just a tap across the bottom. And then to add pens to your collection, you just tap on the code. So for example, adding R0 pinkish white. That one's a bad example because it's very light, but it fills in. Let me do one of the darker reds. R56. You can see it fills in the color when you've selected it, and then refreshes with the checkbox to let you know. The only bad choice is you don't really see the color names, but most of the time you're working with the codes. You only see the name when you tap on it to toggle it. So it's very simple and very basic just for tracking. You can just quickly go through and mark off which pens are in your collection. To return to the main menu, you just tap the banner at the top. Then you can switch between different marker types. But there's also the Save and Restore. If you tap Save and Restore, you're brought to a place where you can enter a username and password, and then you can tap Save My Colors or Restore from the Cloud. These are being saved on the website, so that way he's doing you a favor and allowing you to save your collection. And just like they mentioned in the text at the top, this can be helpful if you get a new phone or something happens to the app, or it can be helpful to be using this across multiple devices. So maybe you want to see what you have on your collection. You can look it up on your computer in a regular web browser by going to the same address, using the Save and Restore button, and then entering the same password. So Save My Colors will save any updates out to the cloud, and then Restore from the Cloud will update what's on your phone or on your web browser on your computer with what was in your cloud collection. So that's how you can quickly move between the two. There's also a button to clear all marker selections if you want to start over and kind of wipe the slate clean. It is a very simple app that only lets you track what colors you own. There's no wish lists or any of those color features in the other app. But one of the big sellers is it's free. It is supported by advertising, which you can see in some areas when you're using the tool. But it's not all that intrusive. The other big selling point is that you can sync your collection. So you can save and restore. And that way you can share your collection. For example, George and I can see everything that is in the collection, and we only have to enter it once that way. And it's also nice that you can use it on a computer, like your Windows machine, in your web browser as well. If you don't have your phone handy, maybe you're in your craft room and you're at your computer, it's a little easier to check your collection.
So there you have it. 2 choices for different apps to use. One if you have an iOS device, and one if you have pretty much anything else.
Plus, a little benefit with the web app is that you can share your library.
Yeah.
So you can sync it across multiple devices. That's really handy, but not as pretty.
No, not as pretty. So if you enjoyed this episode, click the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Also, you might want to hop over to Nanny Rose's Crafting on the Dollar channel. She's going to be doing a project with pinwheels.
Gee, was she inspired by someone?
Yeah, me.
Oh, just you?
Well, yours didn't spin. What? So look for her link in the description below.
If you have any questions or any comments, we'd love to hear from you. So you can leave comments down below.
Remember to check out our website, craftsby2.com. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anything-a-gram. We're all over. I'm also an independent consultant to Close to My Heart. If you're interested in anything, check out the link in the description below. Take you to my Close to My Heart page.
Or if you're interested in learning a second language, like porpoise, check out our Oreo taste test on Between Crafts.
Melody shows you how to communicate with the dolphins and whales. So, until next Tuesday, or probably sooner, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. What are you doing?
I don't remember what I was going to say I was doing.
But, as you've seen so far, stop saying but.